Hi, so this should be a review. We talked about theme first semester, but we're really going to focus on it now as it relates to short stories. So theme is a literary element and it reveals a truth about human behavior. A theme is a central idea, insight, lesson, or generalization about life or human nature. You can think of it as what is the author trying to teach us? A word of caution, a theme cannot be expressed in one word. So themes definitely have a subject or a topic, as do short stories. So for example, maybe the topic or subject of a poem is love. That's the subject or topic. What is the poem teaching us about love? When we answer that question, we'll have a theme. So for example, love conquers all. Another example, envy. But what is the story teaching us about envy? Perhaps it's teaching us that envy is the root of all evil. Loyalty. If loyalty is the subject, what might a short story teach us about loyalty? That loyalty should never be taken for granted. These are just examples. Best to keep in mind that you cannot express a theme in one word. It needs to be expressed in a complete sentence. There are such a thing as universal themes, and basically all that means is that people the world over are concerned with these particular issues. So some examples of universal themes would be good and evil. You'll find stories written in all languages around the globe that have to do with these ideas of good and evil. Same with life and death. Humans the world over are concerned with living and dying, or love and loss. You can also talk about themes in terms of themes across genres. So all that really means is that we will encounter similar themes regardless of the type of text it is. So we could read a short story that has the theme that loyalty should not be taken for granted. We could read a novel that's a whole book for which the theme could be loyalty should never be taken for granted. We could read a poem that has the same theme, okay? Or we could read a non-fiction article that's intending to show us that loyalty should never be taken for granted. We could probably think of songs that also have the same theme, and certainly movies that express the same thing. So when we say themes across genres, we're talking about how a particular theme can be experienced not just in a short story, but also in a play. Not just in music, but also in a movie. Here are some tips for how to find a story's theme. Theme must always be an idea that can be expressed in at least one sentence. You should always think about whether the main character grows, changes, learns something. If you're struggling to figure out what the theme of something is, ask yourself, does the character grow? Does the character change? You should also think about the conflict. Remember back in first semester we talked about plot and that stories have a conflict and that trying to resolve that conflict is what moves the story forward. So think about that conflict and how is it resolved? Does that give us any clues into the theme? Think about the title. It doesn't always help, but sometimes the title can give us a clue as to the theme of a story. Also keep in mind that there is no single way to state the theme. Okay, so you might say it differently than I do. That doesn't mean I'm wrong or that you're wrong. We're just expressing it using different words. Your turn. What do each of the main characters in these movies learn about themselves? Akila and the Bee, what does she learn about how to succeed? What does Poe learn by becoming the Dragon Warrior? What does he learn about himself? And last, what does the Karate Kid learn as he's working with his mentor? Here's one for all three of those. Again, yours might sound different. You may have focused on a different aspect of the films. And oftentimes there's more than one theme in a story that can be identified, and there's always more than one way to say it. So I said it this way: Akela and the Bee, Kung Fu Panda, and Karate Kid all have as their theme that being your best takes hard work, as well as support and encouragement from a mentor or someone you look up to. Okay? So all three movies have that as a similar theme. Okay? Go on and answer the questions in the form. Refer back to this video if you have any questions.